We all love music, don't we? And we would love to have the best listening experience possible. As much as we would all love to have a pro-grade setup, it is not the most practical or cost-effective of choices. And needless to say, it is not portable either. For most of us, we can stick to something that checks those criteria while still sounding as close to studio quality as possible. If you have ever tried buying any audio device or headphones lately, you might have come across phrases like high-res audio, spatial audio, lossless audio, Dolby Atmos, or formats like LDAC, LHDC, etc. But what does all this mean for an average listener? And do these features really matter to have an impact on our listening experience? And most importantly, should we be paying the extra premium for these features when making a purchase decision? We will try and understand all of this in detail, and by the end of this video, you should be able to decide for yourself. Before we jump on to how the current day codecs and audio formats are played by modern devices, let us begin by understanding a brief history on how sound works and how we started off with audio consumption experience. What we hear as sound is a physical phenomenon of a sound wave traveling through air or any other medium as a vibration, creating pressure fluctuations that our ears interpret as sound. Now that we know how sound travels, let us understand how we use it to listen to recorded audio. Back in the days, the sound was recorded through analog means, and today we see a digital version of it. Analog audio refers to the method of recording and reproducing sound in which the electrical signal is analogous to the sound wave. In contrast, digital audio converts the sound wave into a series of zeros and ones, which can be easily stored and manipulated. Before the digital age, audio was played manually using mechanical means. One example is the phonograph, which uses a rotating vinyl disc with a spiral groove etched into its surface. As the disc spins, a stylus or a needle travels along the groove, creating vibrations through a diaphragm, which is then amplified and played back through a speaker or a horn which produces the sound. This process of recording and playback was entirely analog and mechanical, with no digital processing involved. The movement of the stylus was directly proportional to the sound wave, and this physical representation was then produced as sound. Then there was the tide of cassettes. Originally introduced in the 1960s, they had quickly become a popular form of audio recording and consumption. Cassettes were also an analog form of music playback, which used a thin strip of tape coated with tiny particles of magnetizable material, which can be magnetized or demagnetized to record and play back sound. The tape is passed through a set of read-write heads that record and read the magnetic signals on the tape, which are then converted into electrical signals that can be amplified and played back for us through speakers or headphones. While cassettes were portable and durable, the sound quality from high-end vinyl records was still unrivaled. The digital era completely transformed our interaction with music. Digital audio recording and playback involves converting analog sound waves into digital signals consisting of binary code, that is zeros and ones. This is achieved through a process called analog to digital conversion, or ADC, where the analog signal is sampled at regular intervals and quantized into discrete values based on its amplitude at that point in time. The resulting digital signal can be stored, transmitted, and processed in various ways, such as in CDs, DVDs, hard drives, and digital audio players. During playback, the digital signal is then converted back into an analog waveform through a process called digital to analog conversion, or DAC. The digital signal is reconstructed into a continuous signal by using a digital to analog converter, which uses a series of digital values to reconstruct the waveform. These digital values are converted back into an analog waveform by using a reconstruction filter. You must have noticed audio files having specific bit rates, bit depth, and sampling rates based on which their quality is characterized. These define the parameters in determining the quality of a digital audio file. As we discussed in the previous section, a track is digitally played back by sampling the audio signal at regular intervals to create a digital representation of the original sound wave. The frequency at which these snapshots are taken is measured in hertz, and the number of bits used to represent each snapshot is known as bit depth. This chart will give you an idea on these aspects and how the file format, bitrate, bit depth, sampling rate affect your audio experience. For simple understanding, we can look at it as represented here. Imagine audio quality as a picture and the bit rate as its pixels. Higher bit rates are like having more dots or pixels in a picture, which makes it clearer and more detailed. Lower bit rates have fewer dots, so the picture may be less detailed. In the same sense, think of bit depth as the number of colors available to draw a picture. Higher bit depth allow for more colors, making the picture more vibrant and lifelike. Lower bit depth limit the number of colors, resulting in a less realistic picture. You can look at sampling rate as how often you would take pictures of something that is moving. A higher sampling rate means you take more pictures per second, capturing more details of the movement. A lower sampling rate means fewer pictures, so some of the movement may be missed. And for our nerdy viewers, here is a not so simple explanation which you can refer to for better understanding. We can group file formats into three categories. First one being uncompressed. As the name suggests, it has no compression algorithm. Hence, there is no loss of quality or details. But on the flip side, it takes up high storage space as a result. Second one is lossless. These are formats which are compressed for better practical use and storage, however, without compromising on the audio quality. The third one is lossy. These are your typical everyday music files like MP3, AAC, etc., which are compressed with small file sizes, easy to download and store. However, the resultant sound quality takes a hit in the compression process. You can see here the various formats which are popular and commonly used, and many of you audiophiles might prefer one over the other, and I would let you be the judge of that. However, one format that I would like to highlight for its boldly different approach at delivering lossless results is DSD, which, unlike all other formats out there, uses just 1-bit encoding while keeping the sampling rate extremely higher than CD quality norms, which can be as high as 256 times the standard CD quality sampling rate. Unlike high-definition video, there is no universal standard to define high-res audio. However, the accepted thumb rule is for it to be higher than CD quality, which means it should have a bitrate higher than 16-bit and a sampling rate that is higher than 44.1 kHz. Now that we know how to judge the quality of a track and the file formats needed to support it, let us look at audio processing technologies that further push the limits on our audio experience.